people here, they talk about, oh, we are tired of seeing big budget films or tired of seeing the same actors again and again. That's not true. People actually want to see stars. But there is a complaint going on. We want new faces.
Jhakaas. Now it's a popular meme.
I would give a lot of credit to Anil Kapoor for having swung that word in the right way, though it was not his creation. I mean,
yeah.
the copyright of that word belongs to me. You know, I mean, you're taking examples of Aditya, Karan, me, maybe there are 2 or 3, 4 more. The advantage is you get an infrastructure. Your father may give you another chance. Things are laid out for you, which are not for the others. Even if they are talented, the disadvantage is you see a lot of failures around you. People who are accused of nepotism and they get a second chance. Of course, it's a family business. What's wrong is when that chance is taken away. I don't think Amir Khan ever used his name, his father's name, or worked with his dad, you know, and that I'm a Nepo kid or whatever. Salman Khan didn't do it when he was struggling. He used to come to me. I didn't know whose son he was.
For which film?
I think that's the time I was casting Tridev. And I'm eternally grateful actually to Nasiruddin Shah for having done Tridev. Coming to Sonam, I mean, see, I just got to tell you something, that you're casting this girl, which is fine with me, but I have to let you know that my daughter is older than her. Shashi ji was like more like a friend. I learnt a lot from Sanjeev Kumar as an actor. If I've really learned from an actor, it is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. For me, I think my song was far better picturized. I'm sorry to say that. There was obviously Katrina, Kaif, who's like a gem. As a picturization bit, I will always think I did a better job as a director.
I really want to ask you about Divya Bharti.
I had to do this film Vishwatma, and she came, she was upset, she said, you're not taking me, and she opened up in front of me. And I shot with her in Mohra, 10 days, and she passed away.
Rajiv Rai, welcome to CNN News 18.
Thank you.
Sir, it's an honor to talk to you.
Thank you.
As the director of classics like Tridev, Vishwatma and Mohra, and the son of the legendary Gulshan Rai, you have a remarkable legacy. Your new film Zora, which is slated to release on August 8th, features a cast of young and fresh actors.
Yeah.
How challenging was it for you to adapt your directorial style to this new generation of talent, especially after working with established actors for so long?
Yeah. Well, you know, they're not all very young, because this is not a very young film. They're all middle-aged, and they have some background experience of acting from theatre or regional films or ads or serials or something. So, but when I was casting, I looked at other states apart from Mumbai, and I was looking at around India, Hindi speaking. So, it's a very Hindi film. And so, I knew that I haven't seen much of their work. When you work with the actor who has an image, you kind of work around, you know his his range of acting. Here, I wasn't sure how much I could push these actors or what would finally be the outcome. So it is challenging, but that's the fun part of making a film, because you do things impromptu. You know, you kind of sometimes an actor gives you a shot that is unexpected, and you haven't seen him before. So these actors, when you see my film, you haven't seen them before.
Now, what are your expectations from Zora, and why do you feel the film was best suited for a smaller budget?
You know, the expectations with when you take newcomers, you are on very thin ice, because people here, they talk about, oh, we are tired of seeing big budget films or tired of seeing the same actors again and again. That's not true. People actually want to see stars. But there is a complaint going on when you generally hear, oh, there's so many films, and we want new faces, we want new talent. To a certain extent, that's true. But when you actually do that, it's a roadblock. And people, they're not sure. When the film comes out, audiences aren't really sure what they're watching. So sometimes they're skeptical to go inside and buy a ticket. They don't know what they're heading for. Whereas with known faces, the audiences make up their mind pretty easy looking at trailers. So here, you have to do a low budget. I mean, you should try and do a low. You don't have to do anything, but you should try and do a low budget, so that the risk factor is low. Because if the film slides off, and you never know what happens, then the producer is in trouble, even if he's made a good film. And sometimes, what's a good film? It's subjective. I mean, I might think it's a good film, and you may not like that film. So people have different choices. So it's a good risk. It's a happy risk for me. I'm quite content. I calculated my risk as my father taught me. Don't look at the profit, son. Count your losses first before you venture in. So I always see, okay, if things go bad, this is what I'm going to lose. Is it okay? And I say it's okay, then I go ahead.
But you have many friends in the industry, and you have access to most of the biggest stars. It never crossed your mind to perhaps cast one established actor?
Not for this film. So when I was doing a comeback, because I had made high budget, big budget films, today if I was to do those films, they would be maybe over 300, 400, 500 crores if I was doing them today. Okay, those days of course budgets were quite low. So if I was going to say make a Gupt today, it would cost me a lot more, much more than yesterday. Maybe I would be looking at 300, I don't know, depending on what cast you take. So I wanted to do the opposite, because you get tired as a creative person. You do tend to take risks. You do tend to put a challenge, in front of you. And also, I'm getting old now. I've done what I should have done, or what I've done everything. So now to go back into memory lane and live in the past and do what I did in the past is not appealing to me anymore. I mean, I love the stars. When I go out to see a film, I respect them. They bring in the audiences. I'm very aware of their status. But knowing all this, I just said, if I make a low budget film, I'm taking a risk. But I think it's a calculated risk. And I'm very glad I did this, because this is something different. If it works, then people will talk about it. It becomes a case study. If it doesn't work, people say, oh, I don't think he should have done that. It doesn't bother me much.
Sure. I have many questions about your film, but I recently watched your directorial debut, Yudh.
Yes.
Which boasts an incredible ensemble cast, including Anil Kapoor, Jackie Shroff, Shatrughan Sinha, Hema Malini, and others. I noticed a visual grammar, innovative camera angles and track shots, and the creative use of foreground elements in some of the frames. Was that intentional, or were you trying to sort of impress the world with your first film?
In the first film, you do try to impress the audiences. I mean, anybody would do that, because you have to show your craft and you have to prove your point that you know the technique. So when I was shooting that, obviously I was trying to be on top of the game, and honestly I knew the technique. I was pretty, I was technically quite savvy even then, and so it came to me pretty naturally. Also, a lot of things come
to
a director pretty naturally.
Yash Chopra ji?
Yes, I worked with Yash ji for 3 movies, and then I ventured on my own. And I don't know if you're aware, I shoot with multiple cameras.
Okay.
And there aren't many directors, I would think, here. I can't say about the world. You have to know the art of shooting with 4 to 5 cameras. I mean, I've shot action sequences with 8 cameras.
For which
I used to own 8 cameras, and I used to sometimes put them at play. And so you need operators, you need to know your angles. In your mind, you need to know the cuttings, you need to know, am I wasting this angle? I'm just taking this shot because I'm not sure, I'm just covering the scene.
But which scene you use 8 cameras?
8 cameras you tend to use only in action. But when you're doing a scene, for example, a dialogue scene or a dramatic scene, I could use 4, and very easily that too. And
which films you remember the first
every film. There's no film I haven't used multiple cameras. But in Tridev, it was quite extensive, Vishwatma and Tridev, because multiple cameras come on your set. The reason being, if you're doing action film, the action director will want that, because you can't repeat action. and you want to cover it in all angles. So if I'm doing action, the cameras are there, they're standing there. So then when I was looking at action earlier, and I said, action cuts so beautifully, so well, and things happen, also you save time and money. So I said, why not apply that in a scene? And I started doing that very early. And it's not, sometimes people say use multiple cameras because the director is not sure of the angle or not sure of the shot. It's not like that. If I'm using multiple cameras, my attempt is to use all the angles, and I think very hard on that.
So the actors must be happy because they were happy that our close-up was
There's
coming.
a happiness and confusion. There's a lot of them will ask if they see 5 cameras or 4 or even 3, which is my camera, where do I look? But when you say who's inquisitive, I find a lot of these younger or my negative star cast would have fun and get excited because they were, with them, people wouldn't, you go to a scene, to another shooting, there's 1 camera, you come to my shooting, there are 5, so that would really excite them.
Like
look at
Gulshan Grover and all.
Gulshan Grover and all, yeah, they were aware of how I was doing my stuff,
Tej Sapru and
yeah, those kind. You got it. You said it.
The film has this line, Jhakaas. Now it's a popular meme.
Yes.
In fact, Anil Kapoor has legal protection for the commercial use of his signature phrase, Jhakaas.
No, I don't think he can take that phrase from me. I mean, I think it must be something else.
No, not the phrase.
Probably what they do is they put his photo.
Yeah, for there.
And
that's
they put Jhakaas and they sell T-shirts or something.
How that line was born, sir? Do you remember? Is there a story
when I
behind?
was writing the script, I had an assistant director who was also my writer, Naeem, and we were young, and he doesn't work with me now, but at that time, I recall I was always hunting for words. I don't know, I have this uncanny thing for words, and sometimes something catches my eye, my ears, and I wanted to give this second role character some kind of a signature, that people recall. There's a recall on
this
that.
Was Anil Kapoor double role.
Yeah.
Was in double role.
So yeah, double role. So I was looking at some expression. So I'm not very good with different languages or even Marathi. I mean, I understand, I try to speak, I respect it, but I haven't studied it. So I told him, give me a list of 8-10 words, and we went through a list of words. I said, sing it out, say it. So I like this word. It's not something I created. A lot of the things I can, but this is not something I created. And I asked him the meaning. It was an expression, that I think people used in Maharashtra. So I sort of rehearsed with Anil, and honestly speaking, Anil gave it life. It's like you give a song to a singer, and the singer changes the depth of the song, and he brings in soul to the song. So actually, he I think took on to that word right away. He knew what I was doing, and he must have practiced it in front of the mirror many ways, And so when we were rehearsing and when he said it, and I kind of told him, if you say it well, I'm going to repeat it through the film. So this will be a word. And we never thought it would become popular. Nobody knows all that. So it's just to make the film fun, to give him a certain identity in the script, because there are so many actors. So how do you make an actor stand out?
That's, give him a good line.
Yeah, and he did it with a lot of style and finish, and he gave it. I think I would give a lot of credit to Anil Kapoor for having swung that word in the right way, though it was not his creation. I mean, the copyright of that word belongs to me. But all said and done, I respect him for that, and I think he deserves to speak that word wherever he goes, and that will live with him till his dying day, and I'm very happy about it.
Now, you are the son of the legendary producer Gulshan Rai ji.
Yes.
Now, we have other successful second generation filmmakers like Aditya Chopra and Karan, Johar.
Yes.
What are the key advantages or disadvantages of being a filmmaker from a celebrated film family? And why do you believe, or what do you think is the secret behind this enduring success that you, Aditya and Karan, have
Well, you know, if you're a
found,
son
especially
of
as directors?
yeah, if you're a son of a great person, great man, or a producer, director, there are two things. One is you have to live up to a certain level of name. There's expectations from you. So I think 60-70% don't manage that. You know, I mean, you're taking examples of Aditya, Karan, me, maybe there are 2 or 3, 4 more. Most people slip out. They are not able to. I mean, it's a tough job making a film, even if they are talented. So you have to kind of leave your father's reputation behind, not get nervous and not get kind of conscious, cautious. You know, just if I'm conscious of the fact I have to reach a certain level where my dad is, I'm not going to be able to do it. So you have to just do your own thing. And so the advantage is you get an infrastructure and you get advice from your father. There is things are laid out for you which are not for the others. So you're on great advantage, no doubt about it. And so it's a family business at the end of the day. So a father would do anything for the son. I'm the only son. I was the only son. So, and my father never went out of the way. He just let me be. He said, make a good film. Don't make a budget. He always used to tell me till his dying days, don't make a budget, make a good film. Don't restrict yourself to a budget. Okay. So he had a different way of thinking, and I felt very kind of comfortable and secured when I was making a film for him, for Trimurti, because he was a distributor as well. So I knew the film will, no matter what the film is, it'll get distributed. And the biggest problem with the film is to get it distributed then and now. So that was a big advantage. The disadvantage is you see a lot of failures around you, and you see that if you don't perform, you're going to be rejected in a bigger way, and nobody's going to give you a second chance. Your father may give you another chance. It's
That's
possible,
a very big deal.
but you know, father may come around and say, just let direction be, you know, why don't you produce or do something else? Nobody wants to lose money, so you have to perform. So you're under pressure, and when you're a big man's son, you're playing with bigger money, so you're under more pressure. And so I don't think that being a great man's son is the secret to success. You got to have your own talent. You got to have your own creativity. You have to know your own thing, do your own thing. But there is, of course, I mean, I wouldn't be here talking to you if I wasn't his son, you know.
So then, talking about having privilege or coming from a celebrated film family, filmmakers are often criticized for introducing industry kids. What are your views about this ongoing debate about nepotism?
What they call a nepo kid or whatever, if you're not talented, you don't get anywhere.
But you get a second chance.
No, you may, I said.
But that's
I didn't say you have to get.
Big deal.
You may. The audience won't give you a second chance. So even if your father is giving you a second chance or your uncle is giving, it doesn't mean anything. It's the audience. The audience might, you know, reject the second chance, and so you're going downhill. So you have to think, do you deserve the second chance? And let me tell you another thing.
But sir, you
people,
also get
okay, I'm coming to your question.
Sure, sir.
People who are accused of nepotism and they get a second chance, of course, it's a family business for a lot of people. Not today, they're corporations. But those days, it was all family. It's like everybody was somebody's son. If you're a doctor, the father would say, okay, I can teach you the tricks of the trade. Why don't you become a doctor? Why don't you become a pilot? Or whatever profession you are in. And the kids observe their parents. So they get the hang of things pretty easy. Like I had the hang of things. I knew what I should do, what I shouldn't do. And I knew I didn't want to make the mistakes the other were making. I knew where I was. I didn't think I would get a second chance, honestly. And when people do get it, of course, and that there's nothing wrong. If I'm a father, I want to blow money on my kid. Who's anybody to say anything?
Sure.
Why should the world point a finger at a dad? I don't think that's right. What's wrong is when that chance is taken away from a talented person.
Yes.
That's when the fingers are pointed. that you're giving a chance to a relative, and this is what happened in America. And this word has come somewhere from the government, you know, in the American White House or whatever, where you get a 3 months sentence if you're accused and proven giving your nephew. So nepo comes from the word nephew. So if you're giving, say, your nephew a chance, and there is another person deserving that post in a government office or in a corporation, especially in a government office, so you can be taken to court. And I was reading the imprisonment is 3 months. So it's not a big crime, but it's a crime. And people, this was brought around that you can't give your nephews a chance, you know. And it's a very old term which has been around, and you must be fair and give that post to the person who deserves that post.
Sure.
And so there is, of course, what you're saying, a reality to nepotism. I don't think you should be unfair to talent. I don't think it's, if the person is not worthy, a nepo kid is not worthy, well, you're giving him a chance because you don't know. But if you're going to continuously give that person a chance, you're going to get criticized, and that's what's happening. So on the other hand, I feel everybody is getting a chance. Who isn't getting a chance? Yeah. Amitabh Bachchan ji got a chance, many chances, he performed. Shah Rukh Khan, there are thousands of examples. I don't think Amir Khan ever used his name, his father's name, or worked with his dad, you know, and that I'm a nepo kid or whatever. Salman Khan didn't do it when he was struggling. He used to come to me. I didn't know whose son he was.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
He came to me for 6 months, and he wouldn't introduce himself.
But for which film?
I think that's the time I was casting Tridev, if I'm not mistaken. And he would come. And then one day my operator told me, you know, he's Salim Bhai's son, and I actually fired him up, but I knew his father very well. I said, why, at least tell me, you know, so that, not that it's going to make a difference, I'm still going to look at you as who you are, but I think sometimes you're being unfair. Like people, the journalists, sometimes be unfair, because I think everybody is getting a chance. People in the web series are all getting a chance. I can name you hundreds of actors who are not nepo kids. But what happens, then comes around a film with nepotism and everybody pounces on that particular film. But why don't you look at the thousands of examples of great, good, talented actors that are around in Bollywood, have no background? I think there are more of that. And even good actors who fail. Say they fail 3 times. But the director notices them and says, you know, he's got some talent, but the film hasn't worked. They get chances, and there's a ladder they have to climb, and I think they do better.
Sure.
So, I mean, I don't know what to say actually.
So then you just mentioned Tridev. You, of course, have always believed in multi-starrers.
Yes, I have.
Yudh, Tridev, Mohra, or even Gup.
Yes.
Back then, how difficult was it to get male stars to work together? Because today it seems very challenging. There are egos involved, no male actors, no contemporaries want to work together.
No, those days it was pretty simple. It was easy. I mean, if the actors knew they could trust you and you were a good production house, they knew he'd churn out a good product in the end, they want to do your film. And the insecurity of, say, 3 actors working together wasn't really a roadblock.
Really?
No, it was. It could have been in some cases. I'm not saying like all the films it was easy. You had to convince the actors, and the actors were pretty easy and smart also to be convinced. They knew who to trust, who didn't to trust. So you will never hear of a multi-starrer which went into trouble because of being a multi-star. I mean, never. I mean, I think Amitabh Bachchan ji was one of the top stars, I mean, India ever had, and he worked in hundreds of multi-starrers. Yeah. I mean, there are films that he's done alone.
By your father, Diwar and Trishul.
I mean, if you recall Manmohan Desai or Prakash Mehra or Yash Chopra or many other directors, even he worked with smaller directors, or very good directors. When I say smaller budget directors, like Rishikesh Mukherjee, for example, they were multi-starrers. So He's all his life worked with actors, heroes who were heroes, and this was never an area of concern, because all the actors knew that more the faces, the more the audiences will get attracted towards the film, and who's going to get the credit? The main guy. You see, there wasn't that much insecurity, really, no.
So then, sir, how challenging was it for you to cast Naseeruddin Shah in Tridev? Because at that time he was part of this art cinema movement,
Yeah.
working with a director like Shan Benegal, and you actually cast him alongside actors like Jackie Shroff and Sunny Deol.
Yeah.
What was it like bringing these actors together, and how did you manage their egos on set?
No, there were no egos. So that's a wrong word. I have never faced the ego problem of an actor ever. You would never read it in the tabloids. You will never hear it. You will never be able to say, okay, there was this incident. There may be some minor incident somewhere. I can't even recall it, but not with the main actors. So I never experienced this problem. As a director and a producer, you have to also know how to handle your actors.
How you convinced in Sunny Deol and Jackie Shroff?
Never an issue. I've never had an issue. And there was not much convincing. I mean, Sunny Deol very well knew his position. He was a big star. He was a crowd puller. He was an action guy. I mean, he had a mass following like nobody's ever had. I mean, he knows that if Rajiv is not going to use me the right way, the film is not going to work. You see, it's simple. So they know he's going to do his best because he knows my status. So I've never faced this problem. And talking about Naseer, your question, at that time I was struggling casting the third actor, struggling in the sense there weren't many choices. And so I told my dad that, you know, I want to do out of the box here.
But did you have some other actor in that?
No, I was trying to cast Shanki Pandey, but I couldn't work his dates, and there was I don't recall, some kind of it was not fitting into my budget, I think. And though it was a big budget film, but I had a restriction. My father would restrict me. So Naseer, coming from another parallel cinema, I had watched many of his films. I was a big admirer of Mr. Naseeruddin Shah. I still am a big fan of his. And it was like, when he said yes to me, it was like he made my day, you know. It was like the best thing happened in my life. I mean, obviously Sunny Deol, I couldn't have done it without him being there. But when you're doing 3 films and I needed this uncanny, you know, sort of different casting, and I'm eternally grateful actually to Naseeruddin Shah for having done Tridev. But having said that, I think he was waiting for a commercial offer as well. So it didn't take me more than 5 minutes, and it was a yes. And it was very quick. There was never an issue. There was never a question he put up to me, or never a doubt in his mind about anything.
Not even when you actually about the song Oye Oye, because
Yes.
it was an item song.
Yes.
And although I hate that term.
Yes.
But as a serious actor, did
Yes.
Naseeruddin Shah have any reservations
No,
about being
He did
part
call
of
me
such
to the makeup room, I remember, and he said, you know, I've never danced, and this is the first time I'm doing this. And he didn't say I'm nervous or anything, but he said, you know, so he looks at me, you think I can pull it off? I said, look, just think you're an actor and you're acting. Don't think you're a dancer. Don't think you're dancing. I mean, if you want to follow the steps, follow them.
But did he have any reservations, because Sonam
No,
was very young?
Yeah, I'll come to that as well. So talking about the Oye Oye song, when he did the first shot, I mean, he may have had butterflies in his stomach, I'm not sure, but after the first shot was okay, he was fine. I couldn't see any stress on his face. He never did show me any stress, but he did show me concern, and rightly so.
About the age gap?
Rightly so, because he's never done that before, and he wanted to hear it from me. If there was anything any input that I should give him, and I gave him my input, and I was fine. It was fine. Coming to Sonam, I mean, he did, when I was casting, he did, you know, when we were in a meeting, he said, I just got to tell you something, that you're casting this girl, which is fine with me, but I have to let you know that my daughter is older than her. I didn't know that. So I said, I'll go ahead and ask Sonam if she's okay with that. So she's saying, I'm fine. I mean, why are you telling me this? I want to work with a good actor. I mean, there's nobody better actor, no better actor than him. and it would be my honor to work with him. So I told Nasir, I am okay, she's okay, everybody's okay, are you okay? He said, yeah, I had to just tell you what's in my heart, I'm okay with it. So yes, he did bring that subject up.
You know, when your film Gupt was released, it was famously promoted with the campaign not to reveal the killer.
I don't think there was a campaign, Vishal. It was promoted as a whodunit. When I was starting the film, everybody told me, don't make it, because you're making a suspense film, and once the killer's identity is revealed, nobody will come in. So for Monday, the film will go, maybe it'll go before that. I just wanted to do it. I just loved the subject, and I thought to myself, if it's a good film, and I managed to make a good film, why will people not watch it? And every film that you watch in the world, you don't know the end. So there is a suspense in every film. So I said to hell with it, and I was really stuck on getting Kajol. So I said, if I can get this girl to say yes, I'll make the film. If I don't get it to say yes, I don't know what I'll do. I don't have a second choice here.
But you know, that was before the age of social media. Today, with your new film, Zora, how difficult or risky do you think is it to make a whodunit and maintain its suspense in today's social media world where there are?
I think it's the same situation that I was in Gupt. I've again done a whodunit. I've done a very different kind of a film. The story doesn't match. Nothing really connects to Gupt here, except on my poster there's a woman with a dagger, so everybody's thinking that maybe it's a Gupt kind of a film. The thing is, it's a suspense murder mystery, and they will reveal the killer. I'm aware about that. On the first show, it might be out. I hope it's not, but I'm ready for it. I don't care. So if I tell you the killer, that's wrong.
Don't tell me.
No, it's wrong, because I'll spoil your fun.
Yeah.
And if people do it, they'll spoil somebody else's fun.
Yeah.
So I think people today, I think they're a little more matured also.
Yes.
People are kind of aware that by doing that, why should I spoil the fun of the audience? But if you're asking me, I'm on thin ice here, because I know this is going to happen, and I avoid thinking about it. And honestly, in my heart of hearts, I don't care, because I know it's going to happen. So what do? I don't make the film? No, make the film you want to make.
Sure. But you know, you've spoken about Amit ji.
Yes.
Why you never collaborated with Amitabh Bachchan?
I did want to do a film with him at one time. I did approach him, and I did tell him a subject, and he was very kind and nice to me. He gave me a hearing, and he gave me a long hearing. But I think at that time he said he's not in the frame of mind of really working, you know. I mean, something was going on, I don't know. I didn't dig into it. So for some odd reason, it was a fantastic script. The script was the director Anis Bazmi, who's a very famous and a talented director. He was a very famous writer back then, and I had the honor of even collaborating with him, though I've never worked with him after that. And I was very excited because I had a very good writer here, and he had written a script, I think, somewhere with Amit ji in mind. But I went to him with Viju Shah, but somehow it's not that he rejected me or he rejected the film or I got upset or I got. See, he explained it to me very well, and I understood what he was saying.
What the film was about? What genre?
It was about a grandfather's story, about a grandfather and a grandson, and it was about a dacoit who comes into the city, and he's given up his, he's laid down his arms. It was an excellent script for him. Back then, not today.
Yeah.
But those days, like subject matter changes. And I felt he should, I told him, I think you should do this. But, I think somebody, he did or may want to work with me. It's not like he doesn't want to work with me. I have worked with many films with him as an assistant. And he's, he's any director's dream. He's a very fine man. He's very professional. When I worked with him as an assistant, I mean, I remember there was a dubbing in Rajkamal Studios. I was an assistant director, and the dubbing time was some 6 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And we would have to reach there 15 minutes before, and he was outside the gate waiting with his shawl, and I said, "Sir, what are you doing? It's 5:30 or something, He said, "No, my driver didn't come, and I just thought I'll go early. So, you know, he has traits that no actor has, and especially people who have worked with him, you never have to tell him his continuity. You know, never. I mean, if there's a button here or a shot there, or his hand is up here in a certain shot and you're cutting it there and he's repeating something and you're telling him, sir, you did this, or this is wrong, or this continuity is wrong, he'll just smile at you. He knew his continuity, and I've never seen an actor like that.
So then, what are your memories of working on Trishul?
Yeah,
you were assisting Chopra.
Very good memories. I mean, Shashi ji was like more like a friend. I learnt a lot from Sanjeev Kumar as an actor. But I think in my life, if I never said this before, if I've really learned from an actor, it is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. And if he looks at this, he'll say, why, how, what's he saying? He's like, no, because I observe actors and I see what they do and how they do. And as a director, you look at the performance and you look at that scene and you kind of think, how's he going to do this, and why is he doing this, and how is he doing it with so many actors? And you look at his performance and how he lifts the film, how he manages to take that script and lift it. So when I was an assistant director, I learned. As a director, I learned from Mr. Nasiruddin Shah. So keep that in mind. So I learned from these two actors. And so Amitabh Bachchan also, I mean, his behavior and his professionalism is unmatched. Unmatched. Even today, look at him. So I have immense respect and loyalty towards him. I've been an assistant. I am indebted to him that he gave my father two of his best films, and he was there, and we all love him, you know.
So then, which is your most cherished memory of working on Trishul? Any scene you remember you'd like to share? Take us back to that film. And
it's a funny memory.
Sure.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
So what happened one day, I was an assistant. You know, I used to give the clapperboard.
Yeah.
So I remember we were in Delhi, and you know, there's a lot of takes going on, and you say cut. You have to wipe the clapperboard with a chalk. So you have a hanky there. You wipe it, and you write the number again. And there's a lot of pressure on the person who's giving the clap. And I remember it was in a room. We were doing an office scene, and there was him and Sanjeev Kumar, and it was going very quick. And so I had to write, and you know what happens in a close-up when you do like, so the camera, you have to run the clap down so that the numbers register onto the negative. Camera. Otherwise, the editor can't sync it.
Yeah.
So I knew the art of how to give the clap. So I was doing it every day. I remember this one incident, I nearly knocked his nose. And he went back and he looked at me seriously, and he had a long nose. So and I said, sorry. And you know, I couldn't cut the shot. And then he smiled. And you know, it was that look I can never forget. The first thing was, I nearly got his nose. There. And then it was that, I understand, son, don't worry. It happens, move on, go on. You're forgiven, you know. So that has stayed. I don't think he'll remember it, but I remember it. And it was like everybody looked, my God, what did he just do? I could have injured his nose. You know, it would have been a serious accident. So, and he went back. And so I think his timing was very good. And I said sorry later on. He said, no, it's okay. So I remember, it's a stupid thing, but I remember it.
Was that the scene where he said कि मैं आपके पास इतने लाख का सौदा करना है?
It was a scene with Sanjeev Kumar. No, it was when he was confronting his father. And in the first scene, first one, when he comes to his father, first scene.
But you know, Rohit Shetty's father, Shetty, was part of Trishul.
Yeah.
Where it's a very famous scene where Amitabh Bachchan goes with the ambulance. How involved were you in the action sequences?
Oh, I was involved through the film. And as a matter of fact, that film got a bit rewritten and reshot a bit. This whole sequence was a part of rewrite. And I remember I was with Yashi and I was contributing ideas. So I did sometimes contribute a few ideas here and there. Not much. There were 8 assistants. I was the junior most. So I couldn't really contribute towards these films, because I was learning, but I learned hell of a lot, and I was there every day. I was there in every shot, and I was observing everything. I was there in the edit throughout. I would also try to be in the scripting when we used to have a script
With
rehearsal or whatever, hearing. So, and the unit, he had a fantastic unit. Yashi had the best set of assistant directors that they ever were in Bollywood. Very talented set of assistant directors. So I was really placed in a workhouse with a lot of boys that were teaching me everything. So I've learned a lot from a lot of people.
You also worked on Diwar as well.
No, Diwar was a standby film for me. I never went on the sets. What I learned from Diwar was at home from my father, talking to him every day. I was in Mumbai. I hadn't started becoming an assistant, but I was there just listening. I was more of my ears, learning what's going on, why is it going on, how many days did it take. It was not over budgeted. It was shot in 72 shifts. There were no hiccups. The script was watertight, and that they had to edit the last like 10 minutes, and 2 songs were clipped off. So I was there, I was hearing all this, oh, they're cutting this song, so somebody would tell me, but I was not participating in the main line, no.
But how was it, did you get a chance to interact with Parveen Bobby? She was...
No, not during Diwar. I got a chance to interact with her in Kala Patthar. I was the assistant, but not much. She kept to herself. I never got a chance to interact with many actors. I think those days the maximum I interacted with was dear Shashi Kapoor. He used to call me to his room, and he was more like a friend. He used to love my dad also. So I had a good rapport with him. But generally speaking, it was a professional thing. You work with them, you go home, they go to other films, and it's a good atmosphere. But I wasn't really very friendly with anyone.
Coming back to your films, the song Tip Tip Barsa Pani from Mohra became iconic, and it was recreated for Suryavanshi.
Oh yes.
Did you see the new version, and what are your thoughts about this trend of recreating?
It pretty much sounded like the old version, and they took permissions from me, so it was okay, and I got some money also for it, which was good. And for me, I think my song was far better picturized. I'm sorry to say that to Rohit Shetty, though Rohit Shetty maybe is a better director than me. His films are grander, a bigger scale than what I'm making now or then, and I respect him a lot. He's one of our best directors. But where that song was concerned, it didn't tickle my funny bone, and I think, given the circumstances of Tip Tip Barsa Pani in the second film, there was obviously Katrina Kaif, who's like a gem, and Akshay Kumar was doing it again. So I think a lot of credit goes to Akshay Kumar to have repeated himself after so many years of the same song. As a picturization bit, obviously I will always think I did a better job as a director. Maybe I didn't, but that's my thinking. Maybe the audience thinks the other way. But it was still very good, and it still helped the film. It helped the film. There was a lot of publicity around it, and they got a lot of mileage, and I'm fine with that. It was good. It was okay. It was entertaining. I have no complaints,
I read that Salman Khan approached you for the remake of Tridev.
Salman Khan has been an old-time friend, like college days, He even came to me when I was casting Tridev. Like I told you, he's one person who was really down to earth, and he's been my longest friend.
I was searching, so I came across this article in which...
So one day he called me, he said, I have a talent agency, where I like to introduce actors, and I have these very young boys that I want them to do a film, and I think you're a good director, and do you think you could recreate Tridev? I said, I actually don't like doing a part 2. I said, I could use the word Tridev, but I have to write another script. I can't do that script, and I don't want to do those songs. So he was a little taken aback by the song part. He said, are you sure? Then I convinced him. He said, no, you're right. I'm going to let you be. Whatever you're saying is making sense. And he said, let's do it. And he brought in those boys and everything. And I actually kind of even wrote that script. But I did about maybe 1 month work on it, not much. And all that. And yes, there was a discussion, there was an interest, and this is the only kind of part 2 that has come on my table. That, okay, can you, and because he's a friend and I knew like he has the money, so I said, look, we'll have to spend a lot of money to make this film look bigger than Tridev. I won't charge you, but you'll have to spend. And these are all young boys, so will that be okay with you? He said, yeah. And so I realized that as a producer, he was all for it, and his heart and soul was set on doing it. So he's a lovely boy, and I would have liked to do it, but then I think the pandemic came in, and this was pre-pandemic talk.
Okay.
And when everything went helter-skelter with the pandemic, everything anybody was doing was going wrong. So I mean, I think even Salman Bhai had to kind of look at, reinvent his career, because everybody was looking at OTT. Every actor was now looking at Bollywood with a different lens, because there were suddenly people viewing films at home. And so everybody was in a turmoil, like, are people going to come back to the cinema? And are the cinemas going to open? Should we be making big films for cinema? Obviously now everything is okay. But back then, people were a little worried. And in that worry, I wrote Zora, because I told Salman, I said, listen, this is too big a film and too much money going to go. Let's do it another time. Okay, let's keep it. Let's put it, in the shelf. Let's put it aside. Is that okay with you? He said, yeah. So I said, with your kind permission, can I go ahead now that I have kind of committed to you? Can I make my small little teeny weeny film? He said, of course, I'll help you. You need money? I said, no, I'm okay. He said, no, we can do that. Anything you need. So then I branched off, and obviously he's a busy man. He does that Big Boss and so many other films. So he doesn't have a minute to spare, So he moved on with his offers. I went deep into my film, which I was trying to do in 2 crores. So I was really mentally caught up. How am I going to do this, So I didn't have time to think about anything else. So that was the Tridev story here.
What is the reason behind budgeting the film and you making it in 2 crores?
Yeah. So the thing here was that I thought to myself mathematically that if I have to have a hit film, and I'm not sure, no director is sure, it's only the budget that can do it, not a good film or a bad film. So if I make it, say, under 5, and say it does 5, then I'm average. Okay. But if I have a 20 CR film, or a 30, or a 40, or a 50, and I do 5 CR, I'm done. So this was a very mathematical thought. I thought very hard on this, that if I have to cross over and I have to let the trade say, oh, he's made a bad film, or we didn't like it, or whatever, if they have a negative view of my film, which I hope they don't, then they might have to keep their mouth shut if I do a certain figure. Got it? So that was my calculation here.
I really want to ask you about Divya Bharti.
Yeah.
You introduced her to Bollywood and gave her career-defining song, Saat Samandar Par.
Yes.
She was very young and was widely regarded as the next big thing.
Yes.
She had that fateful incident that took her life.
Yes.
What are your memories, sir, of directing her and working with an actress who showed so much potential?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I remember first time she came to my office, though I liked her personality, but I said no. I was not sure. She was talkative and all that, and I didn't know if I can trust her, or she might just one day run away from the sets or something. I couldn't guess her. And I had to do this film Vishwatma in Kenya, and I needed like 2 months. So it was like, so I just wasn't sure. Sometimes you meet a person. So second time when she came, I was sure. And she came, she was upset. She said, you're not taking me. And she opened up in front of me. When she opened up in front of me, I realized she's such a nice person. And I got her all wrong the first time. And she came with a parent. And such a good soul, and so humble. And she looked very talented. and I had not taken a screen test ever. So I just, it was a dark shot, you know, like a shot in the dark. So I said yes, I needed those dates. I got the dates. I signed her for a couple of films for nothing. And she was very happy. And my working experience was outstanding. Never a second of problem. She was a very good dancer, very good actress. Wow. I mean, it is like when I think about it now, I said, God, we lost one of the best girls. And then I was doing Mohra, and she was signed up for films. And she got very busy. And then I was like, I didn't want a busy girl because I just wanted a lot of dates at one time. And I thought she wouldn't give them to me. So I didn't approach her. And she told Shabir Boxwala, my friend, that, you know, I heard he's starting a film. Why is he, how come you haven't come to me? So then he had to tell her he's looking at another casting. So she came over to my house, and she was there till maybe 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. And she said, I'm not leaving till you don't say yes to me. So that's the kind of relationship I had. And I said, of course I want to work with you. You're getting me all wrong. It's just, I'm just worried, you know, about things. And your career is going so beautifully and all that. And I'm kind of a little scared taking you or whatever. I have a reservation for no reason at all. I don't know what's coming to my mind. But because you probably have 20 films and, you know, and I'm used to introducing you. So I need that time. Now you have these big producers. So I want to let you go. So she said no. So I took her and I shot with her in Mohra 10 days and she passed away. I shot with her. She was casted 10 days.
Oh, you know, had she been alive,
Yeah.
how big star do you think she would have become?
Oh, she would have been on the top. No, there's no doubt ever on anybody's mind. She had everything that was required in a heroine. So that was a big loss, actually.
You know, I was watching your interviews and you have spoken about it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you directly.
Yeah, sure.
You said you've talked about trusting your gut a lot.
Yes.
How has listening to your intuition impacted your life, both professionally and personally?
Well, I have a very strong intuition, and sometimes it goes wrong. You know, it's not. But a lot
But how
of
many times
time,
you've got it
my
right?
intuition worries me. But I don't have an intuition to say I made a film. Is it going to work? No, it doesn't work there. And it works generally what's happening in the world. Sometimes I get a thought, like a sixth sense, and things happen. So I'm not a psychic, you know, and I don't think I can really use my intuition for somebody. But sometimes, you know, like films are being released and I get this feeling this won't work, it doesn't work. 9 out of 10 I'm right, or maybe 10 out of 10 sometimes. So that's through intuition, even without seeing the film. I get a sixth sense, ये क्या है, ये 10 पिक्चरें हैं. So sometimes I tell Rashid, I said, ये तो 2 पिक्चरें लग रही हैं, मुझे ऐसे लग रहा है, कहना नहीं चाहिए कि चलेंगी नहीं, या कभी कभी मुझे लगता है तो बहुत चल जाएगी. So it is a thing that was with my father also. So I've inherited this kind of quality.
You know, it's a funny coincidence that you and Priyanka Chopra share the same birthday, July 18.
Yeah.
You know, you directed her in Asambhav in
I've
2004.
directed.
Did you see potential in her to become this global star?
Oh, no, global star, we never thought about that because who knew she would go that? But become a star, yes, 100%. I mean, she was again at it, you know, professional, focused, on time, good with everything, no controversy, work, and focus. So when I saw her working, I said, wow, I mean, like, I had never seen a girl working so hard actually at something and very sincere. So what else do you want in an actor? And even at that time, I felt that, you know, she's talented and she needs a good script. Every actor needs a good script. And even if a role wouldn't suit her, she's the kind of person who would work towards it and do a great job on a role that was not her role. You know, so yeah, I mean, today where she is, I'm not surprised at all.
Have you had the chance to see Saiyaara?
Oh yes, I've seen the film. Of
It's a
course,
love
I saw it
story.
on the first Friday. When I saw it, immediately my intuition told me this could be big. Could be. I wasn't sure. I also had a reservation. But it was like 90%. I was seeing it with a friend, and I told him, you know, there are certain points in the film, if the audiences catch on to it, this film won't leave the theatre. But I wasn't sure about the audience, whether they'll catch on, and they did. And I wasn't 100%, but I was like 90%. I think the directors hit the bullseye, but not 100. Sometimes I'm 100, but this was like 90, 95, and I kind of because it had newcomers. It was a very very different film. And also the story, the girls getting married, the guys doing something. She's got an illness that the masses won't understand, Alzheimer's, you know. So how do you understand that if on the street? So it's a difficult disease for the entire India to actually, they all know about it, but to really understand what happens. So they tried explaining that very well in the film. But what I was thinking, that what people will think is the point of concern is actually the winning point in the script. And that is why I didn't say 100. Because I wasn't sure, I was 99% sure about that point. So it worked.
You liked the film.
I think that was a great point. That you know, memory, you're with the person all your life and she doesn't recognize you. I mean, wow, what a point, you know. So that really drove home to me.
So then, where do you think today's Bollywood is heading? What are your views about film industry?
Okay, that's tricky one. Where it's heading. You know, I think Bollywood is not going anywhere. It'll always be there because people want Bollywood, people want entertainment. I don't know where the cinemas are heading. Whether after 10 years the cinemas will still be around, I'm not sure, because of many reasons. Bollywood will be around, films will be made. I think the only area of concern at the moment are the budgets. But what happens here are the producers in the earlier days of putting their own money. Today the producers really don't put their own money as such, or they are multiple producers and each one is putting money, or a corporation is putting money, and the corporation, I don't know how much they care about the fact that 100 or 200 crores go here, there, because for a corporation that's not big. For an individual producer, even 1 CR is a lot of money. He doesn't want to lose that. So I think the corporations need to look at the budgets for the film to cross the budget. The films are good, the audiences are there, but are we crossing that budget? Are we actually doing it honestly? Are the figures not fudged? You know, so there is a question mark everywhere. And because the actor says, oh my God, my film did so many crores, so this is my price value. But did the film actually do that? You know, so I don't think most of the actors really know what's happening behind, and they are innocent. And an actor will ask a price that he thinks he deserves, rightly so. The problem is not with the actor, the problem is always with the producer who gives it. Now if he is giving it, he better cover it. Where's your maths? So you can't blame the actor, इतना क्यों लिया? अरे भैया आपने दिया ना, वो उसका आप नहीं देते, मत लो उसको. So how do you blame? You can't blame the actors. I think it's the people who are making the film need to look at the budget and need to see whether this is going to do 400 crores, because to do 400 crores you have to do 800 in the cinema because you get 50% of that figure.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so it's I think Bollywood is in a bit of a tight spot. They are ignoring it, or internally everybody knows, but because it's not the producer's money, they kind of say, okay, I'm all right. It's somebody's money, and that person says I'm all right. So if everybody is saying everything is fine, whom I to support? What can I say? But I think things are in a tight spot. This is my guess.
Well, looking forward to what you do next and
Yes.
watching Zora on the big screen. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Vishal.
Sharing so many stories with us.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
I appreciate it.
You,
Thank you. It's been my honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.